We are at a tipping point. The world is being sold a bullshit story about coronavirus. Coronavirus exists. But does it exist to the magnitude that equals the steps we are taking right now? But the ominous hands of death are not coming for you because of coronavirus. But you most likely will be brought to your knees by the oncoming economic collapse. That's more than likely possible at this point. I mean, if you look around and you see more and more people without a job and less people working, the only form of income that many of them are going to have soon is by the hands of the government. Did you know the Federal Reserve is not a federal institution? The name is a misnomer. More commonly known as the Fed is the gatekeeper of the U.S. economy. It is the central bank of the United States. It is the bank of banks, the bank of the U.S. government. The Fed regulates financial institutions, manages the nation's money, and influences the economy. On federalreserve.gov, I asked the question, who owns the Federal Reserve? On Google. And the response I got was the Federal Reserve is not owned by anyone. The Federal Reserve was created in 1913 by the Federal Reserve Act to serve as a nation's central bank. The Board of Directors, or Governors, in Washington, D.C., is an agency of the federal government and reports to and is directly accountable to Congress. The Constitution states that Congress has the power to create money and regulate the value thereof. Today, however, the Fed, which is a privately owned company, controls and profits by printing money through the Treasury and regulating its value. The Fed banking system collects billions of dollars in interest annually and distributes the profits to its shareholders. The Congress illegally gave the Fed the right to print money through the Treasury at no interest to the Fed. The Fed creates money from nothing and loans it back to us through banks and charges interest on the currency. The Fed also buys government debt with money printed from our printing press and charges the U.S. taxpayers interest. So why am I telling you this, and what does this have to do with coronavirus? The $2 trillion stimulus package is coming due to the Fed loaning the money to Congress. In fact, everything Congress does in terms of spending is based on the Fed, as the U.S. is already over $23 trillion in debt. But more importantly, the answer is this. The Rockefellers are the primary owners of the Fed. Bill Gates is friends with the Rockefeller family. Bill Gates resigned from Microsoft completely, and in the last 6 months has been doing some very disturbing things. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation hosted Event 201, a high-level pandemic exercise on October 18, 2019. This simulated, with highly similar results to the present coronavirus, Gates is now calling for tracking devices to be on every human on the planet. The Rockefellers own the Fed, and thus your money. Now, they want to own you. Every action you take, every part of your life, forever, through Bill Gates. And how will they get you to comply? Through the false flag of biological warfare we now know as COVID-19, the coronavirus.